City by Balcony Sunrise. And now it's time for our interview. Tony, a.k.a. Nanoverse, is from Miami, Florida. He's a composer, producer, and mixing engineer. Nanoverse is a music project heavily inspired by the 80s horror, thriller, and action movie soundtracks with heavy metal elements. Inspired by John Carpenter, Danny Elfman, and Metallica. You can follow him on Instagram at nanoverse.music and Twitter at nanoverse, and support his music at nanoverse.bandcamp.com. Tony, welcome to Heartbeat Hero Radio.
Thanks for having me on, man. This is awesome. I appreciate it.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I am doing great. Feeling good. I was a bit under the weather this week, but I'm hyped up again and ready to talk to you. So I really am excited to find out how you started creating music.
Just being a fan of music. Most people, everybody loves music, but everybody's, I guess, level of enthusiasm when it comes to music only goes so far. Which most people just listen to music, and they're fans, right? For me, when I got into like American rock music in the '90s and stuff like that, it was such a big deal for me that it went beyond just being a fan and just being someone that enjoys listening to music. I wanted to know how that music was made, how it came about. I loved hearing stories of how they wrote the songs and what the artists were going through at the time and how it inspired them to write those songs and everything. I just love all that stuff. So for me, it wasn't enough just being a fan of my favorite artists. I wanted to either emulate or be able to play the guitar and play the riffs myself, and it kind of just escalated from there. But just being a big fan, man, I love music. Music is my life,
Was there also music in your family?
Oh yeah, huge. My parents are they're obsessed with music. My parents are from Colombia. They're very, very passionate, very passionate about their music and everything from there. So I grew up heavily with a lot of Hispanic music first. But then as I got older, when I got into like around 5th and 6th grade, that's when I started getting introduced to American rock, like Metallica, Alice in Chains, Guns N' Roses, Pearl Jam, Stone Temple Pilots. That's kind of where I started, and then it went on from there. But yeah, no, I grew up with music, man. Music is a huge part of my life and my family too. We're all obsessed when it comes to music.
Are you going far back as like you're doing mixtapes, or did you buy CDs, or are you just listening to it on Spotify? How were you consuming music in the beginning?
Well, how I'm doing it now is just usually either through SoundCloud, believe it or not. I feel like it's easier, especially for the retro wave, synth wave. It's a lot easier to discover artists through SoundCloud. At least for me, I feel like it's easier that way. But no, I usually just through talking to other producers, friends of mine, that make their own music and stuff like that. We're always sharing music with each other. Like, hey, did you hear this song? This song is badass. This song is great, or whatever. And that's kind of how it goes. And I get introduced by stuff all the time just by chatting with people, just talking to them and stuff, asking them about the music they're making, and then obviously I check it out, and it's only a matter of time I become a fan myself.
All right, I want to talk. I'm a huge Batman fan. I just finished watching Batman for the second time, and before we started the show, we talked about really wanting to talk about Batman. I recently watched the Batman, and I was pleasantly surprised. Have you seen it? What did you think of it?
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it on opening night. Took my kids with me, and man, we had a blast. It was. I have a rule when it comes to movies I'm super excited about. I don't watch trailers. So
that's smart.
Yeah, I don't watch it at all, because at that point, I already know I'm going to see the movie. I'm already excited about it. I already have my ticket. I'm going to go. So if it's something I'm really, really excited about, which this movie, honestly, I didn't see a single trailer. Like, I saw some still shots of what he looked in the bat suit and things like that. Very, very minimal exposure to the movie prior to seeing it. So when I went into it, I was like the whole time, like my jaw was just dropped the entire movie. Like, I didn't really go in with any type of expectation, but long story short, I loved it, man. It was phenomenal. I feel like that's the movie we've all wanted for a very, very long time, to see the way, obviously I don't want to get into spoilers because I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but just the way the movie was fleshed out was, for me, is like, finally, thank you. Like, I've been wanting that for such a long time. So I'm looking forward to seeing it again. I'm probably going to see it probably towards the end of this week coming up again. It was such a great movie, man. I loved it.
Yeah, me too. And your kids watch it too. What do they think of it?
Oh, they thought it was incredible also. My kids, just like me, You know, they grew up with all the Batman stuff that I grew up with. You know, the animated series, the Keaton movies. We watched all that stuff. You know, so to them, they already know if there's a Batman movie coming out, you know, Dad's gonna take us for sure. You know.
So after watching the Batman with my son, I wanted to go from like one of the best Batmans to one of the worst. We watched Batman and Robin.
Oh God! Why would you do that to yourself?
He didn't even want to finish watching it. He's like, "Can we watch something else?" I'm like, "No, we just got to finish it. You need to know this story. You need to know about Bane. You need to know about Poison Ivy. You need to know these things."
Yeah, that's how my firstborn daughter, when I showed her Batman '89 and Batman Returns, she was like, "Is there another one?" I was like, "Yeah, but you're not gonna like it." And of course, the next one was Batman Forever. So I put it on, and maybe 15 minutes into it, she's like, "Dad, what the hell is this?"
Even Batman Forever is more watchable because of Jim Carrey, but.
Right, yeah, that movie is better than Batman and Robin. But that to me is not saying much because those movies have not aged well. Like I said, I tried to watch it with my kid, and I was like, oh, I don't think I can sit through this. I'm sorry, like, I loved it when I was a kid.
All right,
not as much as the Keaton movies. But.
So for the first track of yours, I would like to play your cover of Batman NES Streets of Desolation. Can you tell us a bit about this track?
Oh yeah, I grew up with that game. I had that game when I was a kid, and it was so hard that I was always stuck on the first level. So the music, like to me, was like, all right, well, this game is so hard, I can't get past the second or third level, but the music of that first level is just so awesome that I got the idea because I came across it recently. Like, oh man, I haven't heard this in forever. But then I got this idea. I'm like, this song would actually sound pretty cool if it had more of a down tempo approach, where it was a little slower. And create kind of more of a groove rather than that like fast-paced like version of the original. And I was like, oh, that's kind of curious to see. And I experimented with it. I composed it, everything, put it in my DAW, slowed it down, and I was like, ooh, this sounds cool. It's got a nice groove. And I kind of just redesigned some of the like the sounds and the synths and stuff like that. But yeah, it was just an idea that I had. I was like, I think it would sound pretty groovy if it was slowed down a bit. That's pretty much how the idea came about.
All right, this is the cover of Batman NES Streets of Desolation by Nanoverse.